Angloleasing cannot be investigated by the Kenya Anti-Corruption Commission.
Why would Aaron Ringera cast aspersions on the effectiveness of a body of which he is head?
The information and the evidence that the Serious Fraud Office have turned up would be, I think, probably very useful to the Kenyan investigation, and the SFO is very keen to hand that across.
Why would the Serious Fraud Office just give up after admittedly uncovering incriminating evidence against those responsible for the scandal?
Their laws favor those who have stashed the money out there. It's so difficult to pursue money stashed in Western nations. But I am not trying to excuse our ineptitude as a government, as a country, in following up the money.
And why would the nation's Justice Minister call Kenya's efforts at recovering stolen money incompetent? According to our sources, the mutual frustration of the KACC, international actors, and the Justice Minister is over a currently successful attempt to go slow on Anglo-leasing cases.
The suspects then moved it to the High Court of Kenya, where they obtained judicial orders barring the Kenya Anti-Corruption Commission from investigating security contracts and all Anglo-leasing contracts or security contracts on the ground that matters of national security, of which the Attorney General and given his legal imprimatur and okayed them, could not be investigated because the Kenya Anti-Corruption Commission is part of the executive branch of government.
If this were true, then that would mean that any contract that was given approval by the AG's office cannot be investigated if the AG were to realize that they were fraudulent and seek redress because he okayed them in the first place.
A wholly ridiculous argument.
All this seems to point to the likelihood that those suspected know that there is massive incriminating evidence in the hands of the KACC, which Ringera can now neither use nor give out. According to sources, part of the evidence is a number of transactions that were made through a locally owned bank incriminating current cabinet ministers, officers in the armed forces and senior businessmen. Evidence that could, if tabled in court, lead to their conviction.
The prosecutor decided not to accept the files before completion of international aspects of those cases.
A system which doesn't have a prosecution office that is actually prosecuting, or doesn't have an investigative or detective agency that is actually preparing the case files for the prosecution, is one where there is a total gap.
This would be exceedingly difficult because
we are a laughingstock out there in the world, a country that has no anti-money laundering laws.
So what is Ringera to do?
If upheld, too bad.
Should he risk his job and hand the evidence over to the Serious Fraud Office anyway? Or make the evidence public and let both him and the suspects in the Anglo-leasing scandal reap the whirlwind of this action?
I must speak with restraint here.
Questions that Ringera may have to consider if the greater good of the country is his main consideration. John Allen Namu, KTN Weekend Prime.